Buenos dias, Ajmal, and thank you for joining us today at Business Spotlight Series. Today, I'm excited to introduce Ajmal Mushtaq, millionaire and founder of Boss Pizza Holdings. Welcome, Ajmal.
Thank you very much, Javier, for having me here.
Pleasure. So, Ajmal, how do you come up with the name Boss Pizza?
That's a great question. We wanted to develop a brand that was going to shake up the industry, that was going to make an impact. So we came up with a number of names, but the name Boss Pizza, it just hit the right note. And when we said that name out loud, it just felt right for the brand and for the business that we want to build.
It clicked, yeah?
Yeah.
Brilliant. And Ajmal, tell me, was this a business you wanted to run? When did you think of this idea? Was it from when you were a child? I want to run a pizza business, or how did it come up?
I'm sorry, say that again?
How did you come about with the idea? Why pizza at this moment in time? How did you come up with the business idea?
Okay, I was involved in the Indian food business for a long time. I built up one of Britain's biggest takeaway kitchens, and then I sold that business, and that was phenomenal for us. But it was very, very difficult because the level of skill required was you need to have specialist chefs, and it was difficult to get them on board. It was difficult. Sorry, one second. Right, sorry, I got distracted there. The reason I started Boss Pizza is I was working in the Indian restaurant business. I built up a very successful takeaway kitchen, and then I sold that. And then I wanted to do something that was a lot simpler, but a lot more popular. Nobody is offended by a slice of pizza. So that's why I thought, let's go into the pizza business. And operationally, it's a lot simpler than running an Indian kitchen.
Indeed. By the way, I was talking to an entrepreneur a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, and he was into the vending machine, on the pizza vending machine, and he was putting some vending machines in Glasgow. Have you come across that? I don't know if they've taken off or it went...
I've heard of the pizzas and vending machines. I'm not sure
if they work,
how popular they are, or if they're expanding.
Yeah.
But I did hear of it previously at one time.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us a little bit about your history, because I've seen some of your TikTok videos, and you talk about having a comfortable life, having a well-paid job, your wife the same. Running your own business, you have to be insane. I remember that phrase coming from your lips, okay? So tell us about, how do you do the jump from having this comfortable life, well-paid, no risk, to running your own business?
One of the things that social media is very good at, it's very good at giving the impression that entrepreneurship is very sexy, is very well paid. It's a great lifestyle. Yes, it can be, but it is incredibly difficult. It will stress you out like nothing else can, and it will dominate your life. And it's not for everyone. So I think for me, I was brought up with immigrant parents who were used to working 7 days a week, happy to take a loan on the house and invest it into their business. They were happy to risk their entire being on their business because they had no other options. So I was brought up with a certain appetite of risk and hard work, to the point where having a job working 9 to 5 felt like a part-time job. And then I achieved everything I wanted to achieve in my job in London. And for me, the next natural step was to run my own business. I knew I had it in me to make a real go of this business.
Brilliant. What do you think are the key attributes to run a business successfully?
The key attributes to running a business successfully, there are so many. One, you're going to work harder than you've ever worked. You're going to work longer hours than you've ever worked. You're going to be more stressed than you've ever been. You're going to get criticized like you've never been criticized before. And the minute you become successful, you will be hated like you've never been hated before. So the journey of entrepreneurship is one that is incredibly difficult, and it's not for everyone. You need an incredibly tough skin to get through it.
It's a thankless task, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So why do you do it?
Well, having said that, there is a certain sense of satisfaction when you work hard in something and you achieve. There is that certain sense of satisfaction and freedom that comes with that, but it comes after a long time. And another mistake a lot of young entrepreneurs or social media gives the impression, social media gives the impression that you start your business today, you're going to be successful tomorrow, you're lying on the beach the day after. It's not like that. You're talking 5 years of hard graft. Then you can enjoy the trappings and successes of entrepreneurship.
Brilliant. Yeah. So it's hard work, risk involved. Is it for everybody, you think? Can anybody run a business?
No. And the sad thing I see, there's so much content on social media. You've got people encouraging others to become entrepreneurs. There is nothing wrong with having a safe 9-to-5 job where you get a fixed income, you're reasonably comfortable. That is a great place to be.
We need people like that, right? Otherwise,
Exactly.
if everybody runs a business,
If everyone's an entrepreneur, who's going
Correct.
to do the rest of the
Yeah.
who's going to do the rest of
So tell us,
society's jobs?
Ajmal, what are you in your business a franchise?
Yes, so we are now franchising Boss Pizza all over the UK. If there's not a Boss Pizza near you, there will be one near you very, very soon. We are on a rapid expansion program, and we are very excited about this brand, and we can't wait to see it popping up all over the place.
Yes, I saw you've got one in Shepherd's Bush. I used to live in Notting Hill in my early days in London. So you've got a few in Glasgow. How many do you have?
Right, so there's about 3-4 that are open or just on the cusp of opening, and then there's another 20 in the pipeline. But we've got some big plans for Boss Pizza. We want to be up to 200 branches within the next 2-3 years.
200 branches.
Yeah, within maybe the next 3 years. Within the next 3 years.
Brilliant. So anybody watching this recording who is thinking of running a business, but having a bit of a safety net where you have processes, structure, branding, know-how, they can contact you and say, hey, Ajmal, I want a branch in my city, in my town.
Yeah, that's a great thing about franchising. You're buying into a system, you're buying into a proven model, and then you get the support. So I suppose you get the best of entrepreneurship, and you've got that safety net underneath you.
I would call franchises more than being an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is being an intrapreneur because you've got already a structure, right? It's a great it's revolutionized the world, really. Have you watched the movie The Founder?
Yeah, I've seen that a few years ago. Very, very interesting.
For those who haven't watched that movie, is the McDonald's story, really, how they went from one restaurant by the two McDonald brothers who just wanted to keep quality and one restaurant to Ray Kroc, who just visualized a bit what you visualize, 200, 1,000, 10,000 restaurants around the world. Incredible movie. And it's all based on a systemized process, really, run by students, effectively,
exactly,
on the day-to-day. Talking about students and members of the staff, how are you finding recruitment? Finding talent, retaining talent, people showing up, because I've got clients who recruit people and on the day they have to start the job, they don't show up. They found another job or whatever else. How was your experience over here?
I think you need to look after your people. And in my previous businesses, it was like the service was great and people always complimenting how friendly the staff were and how great the service is. And that's all because I spent 15% of my time managing, motivating, enthusing the team. And managing employees is quite straightforward. All you need to do is you need to pay them above the market rate. You need to give them career progression. You need to make the work interesting. You need to give them appreciation, and you need to give them sufficient support and tools to allow them to do the job to the best of their abilities. And one of the things I learned in London when I was a management consultant, my salary was 40% above the competitors. I was working for the leading management consultancy in the world. My salary was 40% above what I would be earning in other companies. And I adopted the same principle when I had my previous business. Just pay your staff so much more. They don't even think about leaving. They don't even look for other jobs.
Yeah.
Whereas I think a lot of the reason companies are struggling now, they want to pay the bare minimum and they want to get the maximum productivity out of those employees. And that's a formula for failure.
Yeah, it's if you pay 20% more than the average salary, you get twice the quality of candidates. You know, so
Interesting.
there is a lot to be said for that. Brilliant. Share with us some of the big challenges you've had to face to build the business.
Well, some of the challenges were sacrifices. I speak a lot about this. For the first 6 years of my business, I hardly saw my family. Financial sacrifices, I put all of my life savings into my previous business. So time, money, effort, and then other hardships, the ones that no one talks about, like it's quite the constant criticism you get. People always saying this is going to work, that's not going to work. Whatever you do, people have got an opinion. And you've got to be very careful when you start out in business because you are not an expert, but you will be bombarded with other people's negativity and criticism. And that is enough to derail you if you're not mentally resolute in your goals.
You see, that reminds me of Alex Ferguson when he was the coach for Manchester United in the early years when he was beaten by Liverpool and he wasn't winning games. And he asked his coach, you know, how can I get over this, you know, and winning games? The coach said, stop reading the news. Stop reading the news. It was all that criticism and toxic and negativity. His mindset was just a fixed mindset. When he stopped reading the news, Manchester United took off. It's a bit of an analogy to what you've said. And with that, Jim Rohn, I mean, you may have listened to him. He was an international coach and speaker around the world. He died a few years ago from Australia. He's the unknown Tony Robbins, okay?
Right.
And he said, you become the average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with.
Yeah.
You spend time with people who are, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, negativity, toxic. That's where you stay. So
exactly.
Brilliant. Great insight. Thanks for that.
You've got to cut out all of the negativity in your life. And I've only got 5 or 6 people I talk to on a regular basis for my business. I don't have too many meetings. I don't have too many opinions. I don't have too many networking events. I keep my core team as small as possible and my interactions with that small team as large as possible. And anyone else, my interactions with them are limited.
Great. And in terms of the pizza, so what is it? I mean, you've got Domino Pizza, you have all sorts of players out there. Do you have a niche or what is your USP, if you like?
Well, our pizzas are very similar to Domino's pizzas, and I think that's the market that we're going after. For any business starting out, don't compete with your little local rival. It's okay to go and compete with the big guns. That just gives your brand much more credibility, attention. So we are after the Domino's market.
I love
Our
it.
pizzas are 40%. Our pizzas are 40% bigger. Our price is 50% cheaper, and our dough is made fresh indoor in store every single day. So we're bigger, better, fresher than Domino's. And I'm not interested in competing with the local pizza shops. Let's go after the multi-billion-pound pizza market there that's dominated by Domino's.
That's very, very good. You got me excited there, Ajmal. I remember Domino's Pizza market dominating position back in the day. They niched down onto the student market and they set up shops near universities. And their market dominating position, or also known as USP, was we deliver hot pizzas within 30 minutes or you get it free. And that blew the market. So they had a market dominating position, hot pizzas within 30 minutes, and a compelling offer, or you get it free. Students just went for it. That's how Domino Pizza grew to the levels we know it today. What's your market dominating position?
So, something very similar. I ran one of the biggest takeaways in Britain, Mushtaq's of Hamilton, and we had a 29-minute delivery guarantee. We ran that campaign for 5 years, from 2010 to 2015. And I adopted the same thinking as Domino's did back in the 70s and 80s when they did their delivery guarantee. It does make a difference if the customers know they're going to get good food, good price, delivered very fast. That's how you're going to win the day. And that's exactly what we're doing today. Although we're not advertising 29-minute delivery or 15-minute collection, but they are our internal targets. We've got to have the pizza ready for collection in 15 minutes. It's got to be delivered to the customer's door within half an hour. And we don't always get it, but we're there or thereabouts.
I love it. So basically what I'm hearing is your pizzas are 40% bigger, 50% cheaper, and 1 minute faster. Amazing. 29 minutes, 1 minute faster, you don't need to. You are going to undermine Domino Pizza.
The 29-minute delivery guarantee was for my previous food business.
Yes. I'm not going to hold you to that.
I'm not sure I want to do that for...
That would be a nice thing.
I'm not sure I want to do that for Boss Pizza.
Yeah. Well, test and measure, you know.
And
if you find yourself 95% of the times doing 29 minutes, on you go. You know that there was a builder, a roofer. I'll tell you the story very, very, very briefly. And this builder told his team, we are going to increase prices by 10%. And the team said, boss, we're going to lose our clientele. He says, no, we are going to increase prices 10%, but this is our guarantee. We are going to arrive on time. If we arrive 1 minute late, we pay for the roof. We are going to, if anybody in the household finds we say a swear word, one swear word because you hammer your thumb, we are going to pay for the roof. If we don't leave the site cleaner than when we arrived, we pay for the roof. If the owner of the house sees our backside when we bend over, we pay for the house. And that's what they did. How many times in the 12 months do you think they screwed up their guarantee by saying the F word or arriving 1 minute late because of traffic?
Zero.
No, they screwed up and they paid for the roof. And you know what the MD did when they had to pay for a roof? He called the local newspaper and got them over and took a picture of Mrs. Jones shaking hands with the MD and a big fat check of £17,000 for the roof, and Mrs. Jones with a broad smile. What happened the day after? The office was bombarded with phone calls. Do my roof, do my... So they screwed up 2 or 3 times a year, spent £50,000 paying the roofs, but they got £500,000 of business out of it. So the guarantee has to be strong enough you know, to limit your exposure. But boom, if you screw up, make lemonade out of lemons.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So that was fantastic, Amjad. You got me really, really excited. You are taking a fight with the big boys. I'm going to help you on that.
Oh, that's great.
So what's do you have a favorite book that you've read or a favorite film you've watched?
Yeah, I think my favorite book of all time would be a book called Brand Failures by Matt Haig. In life, in entrepreneurship, you don't have time to make all the mistakes. So it's an older book, but the business lessons are still the same. It's an insight to some of the biggest companies in the world and the big mistakes they've made. And that is one of my favorite books of all time. And I'll tell you something else, Javier. I have never read a novel in my life. I've never read a fiction novel in my life, but I have read hundreds of business books. And the reason I have never read a novel is somebody has sat there and dreamt up some words in their head, written them down. I'm not going to waste a minute of my time reading that fiction. I would rather read business insights, lessons, facts, rather than some fiction.
Yes.
So there's a bit of insight for you.
In my case, I read both, a lot of business books and some non-business books because I disconnect, and also it helps my vocabulary and the way I express. But one common things I've come across with people who are successful is that they learn. They keep learning because your business will grow as much as you grow.
Exactly.
So a great insight. Brilliant. So do you have when you think of success, who comes to your mind?
Who comes to mind? Success. Success is a funny word. Had you asked me about success 15 years ago, I would have said success is big house, fancy holidays, nice cars. Ask me about success now, and I would say success is spending the maximum amount of time with your children, having the freedom not to work 40, 50 hours a week, being able to see your parents whenever you want, take time off whenever you want. That, for me, now is true success. And I think that is something that we should all do. The word success should be flexible throughout your career.
Correct.
In your 20s, it should mean something else. In your 30s, it should mean something else. In your 40s, it should mean something else, and so on.
Yes.
So for me, success is now all about spending the maximum amount of time with my family.
That's a great insight, which reminds me of that philosopher whose name I can't remember, who talked about the 4 stages in life, which goes along the way. You've said success keeps changing depending on which decade you are on. I think he was talking age 0 to 20-ish. What's important to you is how you look and appear to others. When you're a teenager, it's how you look. The bracket 20 to 40 is achieving things, getting things done, achieving. 40 to 60-ish, okay, is contributing. You know, you've achieved a lot. Now you are in the time of your life where you want to contribute, you know, putting things, you know, paying back to society. And then 60 plus, you are thinking of the next life, you know, what's happening when I'm not here. But interesting, yeah, your definition of success will change as you change, really, as a human being.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Great. If you had a superpower, which one would you go for?
If I had a superpower, which one would I go for? That's such an interesting question. Gosh. I don't know. If I had a superpower, I would just love to teleport myself to any destination in the world and chill out. Cut out all of the traveling time and packing your bags and standing in airport lines. Just teleport myself to the beach And then when you're done, teleport yourself back. So that would be my superpower.
And visiting all the branches with one click. You know, you can go to the branch in New York, the branch in Tokyo. You know, it's fantastic. If you could spend a day in the life of, who would you choose?
I think that would, if I had to spend a day in the life of, that would be
the person could be dead by now. It doesn't have to be living people, but in the history of mankind to this day.
I think it would be Jeff Bezos.
Wow.
I think he is probably the most underrated entrepreneur of our time. Yes, you've got Elon Musk working on SpaceX. Yes, you've got, you know, all these other entrepreneurs working on different things. But Jeff Bezos has improved the quality of my life like 100-fold. I don't need to go to the supermarket or to the local hardware store
for anything,
and walk
for anything.
It's just everything's done on the phone, and the amount of time that man has saved me is unreal. I'll tell you, I had to buy a watering can, right? So I went to my local hardware store, you know, a big B&Q, and I'm walking up and down that aisles looking for watering cans. It just felt primitive. And I'm thinking I should have just got it off Amazon.
Correct. Next day.
So he's completely transformed the way that we shop and the way that we save time. So for that reason, I would love to see spend a day with him.
Why do you say underrated? Is he underrated? Everybody recognizes what he has done. You know,
I think he's recognized for being the richest man in the world, or one of the richest men in the world. But what I've heard no one say is Jeff Bezos has improved my life tenfold, 100-fold. And I can tell you now, Javier, Jeff Bezos has made my life so much easier. And I can't say that about Mark Zuckerberg or Richard Branson or Elon Musk. But the work that Jeff Bezos has done has made me allowed me to save so much time, which I can spend with my family. So
see how much life easier you're going to make for people in your industry, in the pizza industry, that people in 20, 30 years time says, Ajmal, what he's done for me when I have a pizza is amazing.
Hopefully one day people say that.
Brilliant. Excellent. Well, Ajmal, any news about the business or offers you want to throw in on this recording for the people watching this in the different social media channels?
No, I think, listen, I'm not here to plug my business, but I love talking about business. I love talking about entrepreneurship, about the hardships, and I never sell anything. And that's a great thing why my TikTok is really blown up, because I'm just out there giving real factual advice based on experience. I'm not trying to be a motivational speaker or an inspirational speaker. So the one thing I would say is if anyone is interested in entrepreneurship, business, success, hardships, follow my TikTok account. That's the only thing I ask for. You'll get free information.
Brilliant. You are a down-to-earth speaker. There you go.
Thank you.
So, Ajmal, it's been a real pleasure to have you with us today in Business Spotlights and for sharing with us your journey, your authenticity, and charisma with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.